Hey gang, are you a fan of podcasts and Law & Order SVU? Well, I have the show for you. The seminal SVU podcast, Munch by Benson, is the twisted love child of co-hosts Adam Schwitters and Josh Dugan, celebrating the splendid and often wildly inappropriate lunacy found only on Law & Order SVU. Each week, Adam and Josh walk you through a random episode of SVU, all while sharing their smart and hilarious insight. Find Munch My Benson wherever it is you stream your podcast, or go to munchmybenson.com for more info. That's Munch My Benson. Attention Austin musicians and music industry professionals. Are you having a difficult time navigating these waters, especially after the coronavirus and all the clubs have been closed? You don't know what to do? Well, let me tell you about a great resource for you. That's the Austin Music Foundation. Austin Music Foundation provides ongoing artist development services through its educational panels, one-on-one consultations, and online resources. Now listen, gang, all of that stuff is available to you, the artist or music industry professional, for free. And since coronavirus hit back in March and everything is closed down, Austin Music Foundation had the forethought to move all of their programs online. That's right, you can watch panels online, you can do your consultations online. Austin Music Foundation is there for you, and it's all free to you, the artist. Just go to austinmusicfoundation.org. That's austinmusicfoundation.org. Get involved.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny, I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys all had a good weekend and that you're healthy and safe and sane, keeping that sanity together. Got some sad news over the weekend. Legendary Broken Spoke owner James White passed away. Sad news, man. I didn't know him well. I did meet him a few times. Believe it or not, I know it's kind of weird. If you know the Broken Spoke, it's like one of the oldest honky tonks in Texas, and it over the last decade has been central in the news in that there was a development that came up, and people tried to knock it down and build places like they're trying to build in Austin, like, condo buildings with mixed-use condo buildings with first-floor stuff. And it managed to hold its own, to stay there. And so now the Broken Spoke sits between two giant condo buildings, which is totally weird, But it stood, and it stays there. You can actually see this all about it, and the history of the Broken Spoke, and the history of the White family, because it's not just James, his wife. His daughter works there. As I said, I've played there a couple times. I'm not a guy that you would think would play at the Broken Spoke. And the reason why I played there were two events, private events put on by Tito there that I remember playing there. Maybe I played there for something else too. I can't remember, but they were skyrocket shows, and the place was rented out by Tito from Tito's Vodka. We played a birthday party of his there, and then a Christmas party. And but the family's nice, Those guys were nice. I know that our music wasn't really what they did there. It was very specifically a honky-tonk where they supported and had country music on there. This is all documented in the movie Honky Tonk Heaven, Legend of the Broken Spoke, which was directed by my dear old friend Brenda Mitchell. And I actually had her on the show when that documentary came out. But you can find this documentary for free on Amazon Prime and get to know the story of the Broken Spoke, the history of the Broken Spoke, the reason why the passing of Mr. James White is so significant. Those guys really put their heart into that place. It's been around since 1964. Bob Wills played there. Willie Nelson played there. Garth Brooks played there. George Strait played there. Dolly Parton played there. Skyrocket played there. Not probably their favorite thing, but like Asleep at the Wheel. I used to go see my friend Jesse Dayton play there. I used to stop by there. The restaurant is still open. They can't have shows there, but their restaurant is still open. And I suggest you support it. If you live in Austin, if you've moved to Austin, maybe you've heard about it. Their restaurant is open. They have fantastic chicken fried steak. I recommend it. Support the place because his family still owns it. So the history of the Broken Spoke is rich. Watch Honky Tonk Heaven, Legend of the Broken Spoke. I'll put a link to it, to the Amazon Prime link in the text of this podcast. Okay? Gang, I have a great show for you today. The amazing Erin Ivey returns to the show. She's releasing her first album in 7 years this Friday, January 29th. The album's called Solace in the Wild. It's absolutely gorgeous. It was produced by Chuck Pinnell, a record about connecting people to the solace we need to keep going in these crazy times, you know? Amazing, amazing record. This is, as I said, her first record in 7 years. Erin's been, she took a job where she was doing a lot of traveling and she was away and not really getting to write very much. But then she got the bug, started writing again, working with Chuck Pinnell. This record's absolutely gorgeous. Has a song about the situation that happened in Charleston a few years ago. There's a song in French, and she even covers Irving Berlin's Blue Skies in a gorgeous, gorgeous way. She recorded this record, I think, earlier this year and kind of finished it up through the pandemic. But it was great catching up with Erin. She is such a fantastic person. And a week before the show, she texted me and she was like, hey, what's your address? I have a gift for you. And she came by. She showed up one day, which was weird having someone show up at your house in the middle of a pandemic because no one's really been showing up lately. But she showed up at the house. She had a lovely gift for me, a gift bag. When I opened it up, it had a copy of the CD, which is beautiful. The artwork is gorgeous. And of course, the album is gorgeous. She gave me stickers. She gave me a bookmark. And of course, one of my favorite gifts I can ever receive, a beautiful mug, Solace in the Wild. This album, Solace in the Wild, comes out this Friday, January 29th. Erin and I have a fantastic conversation about what she's been doing over the last 7 years. Different jobs. She worked with Black Fret. Then she took a job that she had to travel a lot. Now she's made this new record. She's been living under quarantine like the rest of us. And yeah, we have a great conversation. So without further ado, please enjoy me and Erin Ivey chatting up. Let's get down. Sonic perfection.
Well, it's been great.
Thank you for doing the show. I'll talk to you next time. What a pleasant surprise. I know you told me you were going to come by the other day, but it was also a surprise. I was like sitting here, and when I heard a knock on my door, I think outside of like Amazon dudes, or when a food guy comes every once in a while, like someone knocked and I like didn't know what to do. I was like, what is happening? There's someone on the other side of my door. And then
your windows were open too. It was such a pretty day.
It's so beautiful. Anyway, I was so pleasantly surprised, and you gave me a gift bag, which is so nice. Most guests do not give me a gift bag. And I have a coffee mug that I've been drinking out of, Solace in the Wild. And you gave me stickers and a bookmark and a CD. And I have to tell you, man, this album is incredible. Like, it's so beautiful. There's such an elegance to your whole trip. There's an elegance to you. That's the one thing that I got from this album that I was like, oh, she's like almost like if you were a horse, you'd be like an Arabian horse or something. You know what I mean?
You know what? I am constantly telling people that, and they don't believe me. So thank you.
Yeah, seriously, man. What a great job. And Chuck, you say Chuck Pinnell? Is that how you say it? That guy's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's such a good player. And then the way that he sonically just took all of these sort of disparate instruments, or like there are just a whole lot of weird instruments on this record, and somehow he like knits them all together into this beautiful sonic blanket that is really like gorgeous.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
It's gorgeous. It's very dreamy. You explore a lot of different things. Let me. Where did Chuck Pennell come from, man? Where?
He's from Austin.
But like, what? Where would we have seen him?
Oh man, I don't know.
How did you meet him?
He produced an album called Dark River, which was, I think it came out in like 2011 or 2012 maybe. And it was a collection of Civil War era songs reimagined by Austin artists.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful record. And so he and I were introduced. He was looking for someone who could do dark and sweet at the same time. And so Susie Stern introduced us because she was like, I know someone who can do dark and sweet.
Do you know what the name of that record was?
Dark River. I've got one. I'll send it to you.
It's a different. My friend, you know Will Sexton, right?
Yeah, I actually just emailed with him today.
Him and Gabe Rhodes made this record around that same time. That was old songs sung by people.
Huh.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I wonder if that's the same
old
album.
Songs sung by people.
Yeah. Well, people that we know. So you made this record, like you wrote this record, a lot of it with Chuck?
Yeah, I wrote the first two cuts with Chuck.
Okay.
And then track 4, I wrote a cappella, and he put the music underneath of it, which was great. Totally filled it out in such a beautiful way. So, we wrote these songs years ago, which is crazy because there's so much
relevance,
prescient about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's what we do as artists. Like, we live in that space all the time. We're constantly like processing through music what's happening inside and around us, and those archetypal tales, they change, but really the underlying truth of it all is always there.
Yeah. Like this has been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
Whatever we think is happening now has been happening this whole time.
I think so.
Yeah.
Just to varying degrees and with varying degrees of consciousness around it. But I think as artists, that's sort of our job in society, is to take that stuff and transform it into something that you can carry around with you.
Yeah.
Like a song or a lesson or a novel or a painting.
Yeah. Well, this is so real quick on the song Jealousy, is that the song that you wrote a cappella?
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so you write this song a cappella, and what did you sing it to him, and in front of you he came up with chords? Or
I think I sent him so I was on the road. I had to take corporate jobs for a few years to like right my family's ship.
Right.
And like RAGHT, to steer it out of the way of a large iceberg. And so I was out of town a lot, and so what I did was just sing it into my phone and send him a clip.
Okay, so what I was going to say to you is, when you got the music back, what was were you like amazed? Were those the chords that you were hearing when you were singing, or? Yeah, it's pretty simple, but the elegance of his well, to use your word, he really does. Maybe that's where the elegance comes from. Actually, I invented that word.
Maybe that's where the elegance of the record comes from. Is his choice of not phrasing, but where you pick which part of the chord to play.
Right.
Not fingering. What is that word?
Phrasing. No,
it's not.
Phrasing is timing. I'm
having a
voicing. The
yes.
voicing of the chords. Yes.
Yeah. The things that he chooses are just really gorgeous. Like 13th chords and shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
Things a guitar teacher would choose, and they're so appropriate too, and kind of dark. Like I like how he can with a certain voicing, you can say something completely twisted,
totally.
that is in a new way.
Did you ever know this guy Billy White?
No.
Oh, he's this guy that lived here like in the 90s and into the early 2000s, but he moved away. But he was he always used these insane voicings for chords and stuff, and I'd be like, man, what is that chord? I can't figure it out. And he'd be like, it's G, dude. I'm just doing it in this thing down here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's some wizardry.
Well, it really does it does change the quality of the feeling of the chord that voicings do.
Yeah.
So, but you play, what made you just give him the a cappella thing? Trust?
Probably laziness or bandwidth in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working like constantly, which is why this record took so long. And so he did a lot of the heavy lifting on the arrangements, and some of the songs have like multiple movements in them.
Yeah,
that's all stuck. So cool.
Dan Dyer and Noel Hampton make good backup singers, and also I love the song that you sing with Warren, Honest Man.
Oh, his voice just kills me on that. Kills me. So good.
Did he come up with that harmony, or did you have that in mind?
I told him to sing the low harmony. He was like, okay, like this.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that's perfect.
How do you know him? Like just from around the scene, or?
Yeah, how would you not know Warren Hood?
I don't know, because I know.
I don't know that. I don't know that you can be here in music and not know Warren.
That's true.
And not have him on your record.
Right. Oh, I should probably do that at some point. As I keep on making.
He's fast. He's real fast.
He is.
Uh-huh.
He's also great.
He's so kind.
He's a great musician. He has it flowing through him all the time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you wrote these songs. You guys would get together like once or twice a month and work on a tune. But when you recorded it in a 3-day block.
Yeah, we went out to Blue Rock in Wimberley and spent 3 days out there. We actually moved out there. Like the whole band came out and stayed over so we could eat, breathe, sleep, music. We ate together. There's a pool there and a hot tub. So we hung out together. And the bass player, Chris Afflerbaugh, his baby had just been born. And so Kara, Silas's mom, and Silas, little baby Silas, came out as well. And so we had this sweet, and he's such a sweet boy, like this sweet newborn energy there. And I'd take a break and hold a baby.
Yeah.
Like that never happens. Usually it's like you take a break, you go out and you step over two possibly dead people to smoke a cigarette and then go back into some really smelly vocal booth where somebody puked on the mic or something. You know what I mean? I've
Where
had
are you
those
recording normally?
This was the opposite. This was a super duper, this was the Four Seasons of recording sessions. How
nice. And were the tracks able to be was there a lot cut off the floor with everyone playing together?
Yes. It mostly was. So the band got together years ago, practiced the songs. We played them at the Long Center in the Rollins Theater as part of some of their programming. And then we hadn't played together for almost 2 years, I think. When we came together, we hadn't even rehearsed when we came together in the studio. So a lot of it was just muscle memory. And, oh yeah, I remember this song. I think I remember how it goes. And then in the moment we were arranging, we would get together,
right,
figure out the arrangement, and then go lay it down a few times and then go have a snack and think of the next song.
Yeah.
It was definitely different.
Yeah, but
I felt like with so much time between when we had played together, we were going to need to be at a place like Blue Rock. We were going to need to be at Blue Rock because that way the world falls away and you can just focus on the song.
Yeah.
And that exchange of energy between the players.
Right. Yeah. How much did Chuck on songs that you wrote, how much did he sort of arrange, or how much do you do, or how much did the band do in the moment?
That's a good question. Chuck did a lot of the arranging. Chuck did a lot of the arranging beforehand, I think in so far as he could without the band there. And there are songs like Charleston, for example, track 7, that like go into this. Like, it's a simple song. The songs that I write aren't like complicated really, but then what the band does with it in the outro part is this sort of, it gets into this sort of like driving groove that is very like, it's almost separate from the whole rest of the song. Right. The song is almost the setup. The vocal, the lyrics and stuff are a setup for this bed of just vibe that happens afterward. And so I think that part of that is we're going to do it this way, but then the rest of it is how the band fills in, how Peter Stopczynski plays that piano solo, or, who takes the solos. You can decide that beforehand, but then you get into the studio and it just feels like something different should happen, so everybody pivots together. Right.
That's
great.
Really to be in that energy together is amazing.
Yeah,
it's part
and
of,
they're all such great players. Everybody had something interesting to say, and tasteful, really tasteful players.
Right. And that song was inspired by the shooting at the Mother Emanuel Church.
It was, yeah.
How did you it's difficult to take something like that, process it, and turn it into some kind of artistic thing without being too literal, without being too abstract. Like, it's kind of an odd sort of, that's a difficult song, at least for me to write. Like a song where I'm trying to say something about a specific event that happened. Can you talk to me and explain to the people how you sort of like processed that information and turned it into a beautiful song?
Well, I still kind of struggle with it because it was not a song that I wrote to share. It was a song that I wrote to process. So it's very much just my raw processing there. And I think it's an imperfect song from an imperfect person to an imperfect world. And like, if I waited for it to be perfect, I would probably, it wouldn't be what it is. So I hesitated to play it for anybody. I played it for a few friends who live in Charleston, and they encouraged me to play it. And so then I brought it to the band, and then what the band did with it is so great. I thought that it would be not wise to keep it off of the record just because I struggle with the heaviness of it a little bit, but also just it just feels somehow unfinished, maybe, or like, I don't know. It's a difficult song. It's a difficult song.
Well, it's hard to put resolution on something that doesn't have resolution. It's an actual event that occurred. It's not something you're just making up. So yeah, it's unfinished. People are still processing that were there. You know what I mean? Families are still processing. You know what I mean?
And still going through things. That are relevant to that message of needing to use our voices. And so that's part of what's so strange about releasing this album now and having things like that on here that seem very relevant and timely, and like I wish I could breathe underwater, like all of that talk of breathing, and then all of this talk that we're having in society about breathing or not being able to breathe. Or my statement was, I wish I could breathe underwater. Yeah. And I'd know that I'm alive. Yeah. And there's so much in that for me personally, that to have it resonate on a larger scale is just really surprising.
Yeah. And it's funny because there's a lot of protest activity among artists right now. There's a lot of those songs are being written right now they're being released right now. The person I interviewed before you had a video that's just a montage of news from the last year. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That there's a lot of that. Like I noticed that in my own creativity, like I've been working on these tunes, and there's 2 songs in particular that I wrote, and the first one was like before the whole George Floyd incident, and it's just kind of about isolation, but the times were so informing what I was writing. And then the next song that I wrote was just a literal, like, like a cult of personality kind of song where we worship people too much and then we throw them away.
Yeah.
Like politics isn't your parents. Like they're not supposed to be your
what
parents.
We were saying. Like it's always been. This has always been. And yet it's so right now.
But it is a difficult subject to tackle as a writer because there can be a timeliness to it. But having a song like, how do you write a song like Blowing in the Wind where you don't really know what that dude wrote it about, but it's lasted forever? You could sing it now at a show and you could apply it to these times, as opposed to like, well, I guess Ohio by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young is applicable now, but they're speaking so to a specific moment, like, I don't know. That's it. You did a great job is what I'm trying to say. You were able to get it across, and I feel like if we listen to this song 10 years from now, you'd still feel something of the emotion from it without being so connected to the actual event.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we all have to process what's going on in our own way. And if doing that can help other people process it, then that's good. It's healthy. We have to be doing that work. And I think you're right. It is a difficult line to walk depending upon your goal. And I think my goal with this was not to have something to share necessarily, but to find comfort somewhere in the midst of that horror.
Right.
Give myself something to sing to myself, almost like a lullaby.
Yeah.
That where I can, and the message of this whole album really is, how do we do the things we know we need to do so that we have the strength to do the really hard shit we know we have to accomplish? And moving forward with social justice issues, and also just getting through the next day, getting through the next week. I mean, I can see the end of my money and it's freaking me the fuck out, right? Like, how do I get through today knowing that?
Right.
Those are like, selfishly, that's what I'm doing while I'm writing and playing and singing is just sort of self-soothing. But then to be able to bring that to a band and have a band like elevate it so into such a different realm of something that is shareable is, I mean, that's addicting.
Yeah, totally. When did you learn French? Because there's a song in here in French. Well, I don't even know how to say it.
Ça ira.
Okay.
You want to try?
Ça ira.
Gorgeous, darling.
Thank you. When did you learn French? Were you like a high school French person?
No, I was. I went to the Naval Academy primary school, and we had French starting in first grade.
How cool!
So yeah, I just stuck with it through high school, and then in college, I went over to study abroad a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, and then I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so beautiful, and the food that comes with it is really, really delicious.
Yes,
and the wine and the cheese, and it's mostly about the cheese.
Yeah, the cheese is incredible. Do you know Susanna Schoffel, right?
I do. I love Suze.
She makes a joke when she talks about studying abroad. She always goes, "I studied a couple abroads." Whoa, whoa, whoa! I love it whenever she does like weird Catskills humor. So, do you listen to a lot of French artists? Do you listen to French music at all? Because I love French music a lot.
I don't really. I mean, I do a little bit, but like Charles Aznavour and Jacques
Right.
Brel and
Yeah, yeah.
like, you know, like the sort of standard. I don't know a lot of modern French stuff. I mean, Carla Bruni
Yeah.
is
But she's
maybe
Spanish
the
or Italian,
quintessential like.
but sang in French. Yeah.
She's Italian, but she was the French first lady for a while, and just really like magnetic and beautiful. But she has this really interesting. I mean, if she can make a record, anybody can make a record, and she does it so beautifully in her own way.
Yeah.
I think her producers are just really, really good. I feel like I'm talking shit about her.
I feel like you are too.
I don't mean to be. I'm just jealous.
It's funny in my Facebook.
She's like a supermodel.
Yeah.
And she's a president's wife. And she's like a philanthropist. And she's just too good. Damn it, Johnny.
Did you know that Trump at one point said before she got with the president guy of France that he told the press that he had dated her? And she's like,
Ew.
I've never even met that fucking guy. She's
Not
like, I've never
surprised.
even met that guy. He's like, oh yeah, Mick Jagger broke up with his girlfriend, and so, you know, she was, yeah. Anyway, okay. What about bands like Air or Phoenix?
I guess
They sing in English, but they're French.
I didn't really, I guess I
Daft
didn't really
Punk.
realize that. Why would you sing in English when you could sing in French?
I don't know. I don't even know, because I think singing, like when I heard you singing in French, I was just like, wow. I kept on going. You know, I went back and listened to it again. I mean, your delivery is really great.
It's okay. It's not perfect.
Well, I mean,
I'm not actually French, and this is a shock to me.
Yeah.
So it's still sinking in.
Yeah. That happens to me with Judaism. Like every once in a while I have to remind myself I'm not Jewish, and it drives me crazy.
I also think that talking shit about Carla Bruni and being like, I don't listen to Air, why wouldn't they sing in French? You know, like that is very French of me to do that.
Yeah. I met a French lady in a very awkward situation once, and I'll make this very fast, but it's funny. One of my mom's very best friends is an artist. She had a place in New York, and I was there, and I was going to go to dinner with her, and she's like, well, first I have to see if this lady's here from Paris, and she's going to see if she wants to put my stuff in her gallery in Paris. And so I was there when the lady delivered her decision to this woman and basically told her she's like the worst fucking artist she'd ever seen, and she wasted her time. It was so unbelievably like quintessential French. Like, I mean, she was laughing about it when the lady left. Like I was just like, wow, that was really mean. And she was like, yeah. She's like, why would I have you in my gallery? This is shit. This is all shit. Anyway, so French people talk shit too, so don't worry about it. It was very French of you to do that. Let's move on. Let's keep on moving on. So let me ask you this. The last full-length record that you put out was 7 years ago. And so in this time you were working, trying to right the ship to get away from the iceberg. Were you, like, what else was going on? Like, what was going on with you artistically during that? I remember I saw you once when I went to Black Fret, and we took a picture together. And you were working with Black Fret for a while?
Yes. So for a couple of years, I was a project management consultant on the road, like constantly. And then Black Fret offered me a position that would have me at home all the time, which was great, because then I could actually like see my family and I love traveling. I truly do. And I love the project management work. Like I really do. But it was like too much. It was way too much. And I felt like it was like cutting off a limb, and I had to like spackle it over so that it wouldn't grow back. The pain of like can you imagine just like going from full-time artist to full-time like corporate shill over the course of like a weekend? And it was a really, really difficult transition for me to make. And if I felt a little sprig of that music soul starting to sprout, it was so painful to not be able to like nourish it and water it and grow it back. That I just had to keep doing this. And so I feel like that's a weird metaphor, but when Black Fret offered me a job that would keep me in Austin, I felt like that was a really good opportunity to, in my off time, like I could actually attend rehearsals and plug into this amazing community that we have here. It is such a unique, special thing that we have in Austin, where we all work together for the greater good of our community, and we work together on gigs, and we work together on fundraisers, and we work together on albums, and we like everybody's just constantly like working together. Yeah. And that is a beautiful thing. And just being amongst people who are creative as their like lifestyle, right, is something that I missed so much. So I was able to work for Black Fret for I think like a year and a half. And that was really great, although it was super frustrating at the same time, because I wanted to be like, I wanted to be back in it, you know, and I was a little bit like tangentially. Right. For those who are listening, Black Fret is a nonprofit organization based in Austin, Texas, that gives grants to local musicians. And so I loved that. I loved being part of that. Sure. But it wasn't, it was just different than like performing. I love the members. The members are amazing. They are so supportive. But it's just different being on like the administrative side of it as opposed to the artistic side of it. Like, right. There's just something magical about the exchange between an audience and people who are making music that is unlike any drug. Yeah. It's like so good and so powerful, and you feel it as an audience member too. It's the deal, man. Yeah. I missed it. Yeah. Did I answer your question? What was your question?
I don't even know, but I was going to say, I was just thinking about when you were saying that, I was like, oh, I also remember going to a show that you played inside at the Belmont with like Tosca.
Yeah. Oh, and the dancers.
And the dancers.
I love it when the dancers are part. Yeah. Tony Bravo has an amazing dance troupe, Diverse Space Dance Theater. And we had them, and of course playing with Tosca is amazing. And Elizabeth McQueen was part of that show too. That was so fun.
Oh yeah. Belmont. What did she do at that show?
We did a duet. I think we did an Everly Brothers song.
I love Elizabeth McQueen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that you're back making records. I can't tell you, like, you just, like, I was really taken aback listening to it. And upon, like, the second or third time, let me ask you a question. Where did you get the idea for writing the song Blue Skies? Just joking. By the way, that's a great version of that song.
I love you, Johnny Gowdy. I really do.
Was there for like a split second, you're like, he's not that stupid, is he? I realized I had to tell you I was kidding really fast because it would have had to interrupt a very sad answer.
Look at the time.
What chose you? What made you choose doing that song? Did you grow up as it's part of the fabric of who you are? Is it something like if you were walking around on a day like today, would you start singing it to yourself?
Probably.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it's just part of the lexicon of like all of the music that's baked into us and programmed into us from the beginning. Yeah. And I love like the way that we arranged it. The way that I hear it is very different from the like blue skies.
Yeah, right.
And it's very much a depressing song for me, and I love to sing it in the way where like the words that I'm saying and the vibe that I'm feeling are completely at odds.
Right.
Where I'm saying, because I'm trying to believe, I like in the performance of that song in particular, and that arrangement where we sort of like changed it up a little bit and changed some of the chords to be more
Sadder.
minor.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing to imagine that nothing's ever going to be okay, and sing the words that everything's great.
Yeah.
I just love that dichotomy, and that's really. I mean, I could sing sad songs. I sing sad songs. I love singing sad songs, and I like. It's sort of like it allows me to sort of release. It's like a pressure release somehow of the darkness through music. So yeah, just trying to make all the sad songs as possible. You know, even the happy songs are sad songs.
It's a nice thing to do. You doing all right though? Life.
Just give me a minute.
Hold on, I covered up all my notes with stickers here.
I'm so honored that you listened, Johnny. Thank you. I know you hear like so much music, and your musical metabolism is so impressive to me to be able to take all of this in, all the time.
Thank you for saying that. It's earbuds really do it for me.
Really?
Like I listened to your thing yesterday when I was cleaning my bathroom. My earbuds. But you're really in it. Like I'm hearing the words. And even if you kind of zone out, it's still coming right in your ears, you know?
Yeah.
And if you walk in the other room, it's still coming right in your ears. And I feel like that helps me kind of focus on the listening thing. I can't tell you enough, like this record is just, I wrote down some notes here. It's beautiful. There's like having seen you play, and that's another sort of like advantage that we have in this community together is we kind of get to watch each other grow up, you know, and change and go through all the things. And I was reading somewhere where one of your records was cited as one of the 20 best records of the last 20 years or something like that in Texas Music Magazine.
Yeah.
And I forget because you're not like always in the face, like what a profound artist you are. Even if you go 7 years in between records, you still, you know, when you put one out, it still is like, you know, it's you got to be at least this tall to ride the ride thing, like real fucking albums with like real production and vision and like commitment. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Do you feel like do you feel fully realized as an artist? Because when I listened to that, I was like, there's no reason why this person couldn't be on the Tonight Show tonight. You know what I mean?
From your mouth to God's ears.
And the booking person from the Tonight Show.
I got to take this. Sorry. I don't know. Does any artist ever feel fully realized?
I don't know. There are times when I finish a record where I feel like upon listening to it, you're like, wow, that's really me. Like there's no getting out of this now. I'm definitely this guy. You know? Is that weird to say? Does that even make sense?
No, that's cool. That's really cool. It's
good or bad, like you're that person, you know?
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I used to go to these things sometimes on Sundays, not to change the subject, but I will come right back to it. And I would always see Cam, and it always made me happy. And he just popped into my mind, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Isn't he great?
Yeah, he's
like
great.
He's the coolest, except for like maybe Paul McCartney might be on a level with him. The coolest guy I've ever met. And he puts up with a lot of shit from me.
Really?
As you can imagine,
I don't.
Maybe high maintenance to
I don't
be married.
think of you as high maintenance.
All my feelings.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
A lot of feelings. And when I really, really love you, I can be very mean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you must not really love me, and that's fine if you
I don't love you enough to be super mean to you yet. No, I have a rage.
Really?
Rage?
You have rage? Like, are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm really working on it though. I'm the stifled child of a military family that like didn't really understand, still to this day doesn't really understand why I have to write these songs, like
Oh, your family doesn't understand?
some of them do. Some of them do. But
I bet this is a difficult time.
we don't talk a lot anymore. I talk with there are some people who you just have to love from afar.
Yeah.
And try to accept who they have become and who you have become.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's a challenge, isn't it?
It is. It really is. The acceptance part is like an everyday thing, especially with people like who taught you about the importance of character and the words that you say.
Right.
For that to somehow not matter to them as much anymore is really weird. So anyway, I feel like I'm talking around things instead of saying what I mean. But
well, can I ask you a question about do you see a therapist?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been in Jungian analysis for like 20 years.
Oh, really?
Weekly. Fucking weekly, Johnny.
That's like the serious thing that Howard Stern did? Right?
I don't know.
It is. It's deeper. It's heavier than just therapy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just
It's
going
really
and yelling
cool.
at the lady. Yeah.
It's really cool. It's very deep.
Do you feel like that's given you some clarity? I mean, do you feel like you've come through it?
Yeah.
It's just hard. It's hard for me to imagine. Like, I'm just looking at you and I'm like, rage? Really? Like, where?
The thing is, like, it's the same, like, tantrum energy I keep saying you. It's the same tantrum energy I had.
You're talking to a person that has tantrum energy.
That one could have as like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, where you just don't have the way to express how you feel. So you end up on the ground screaming, right? It's that same like spark. And I'm an Aries too. So it's like the flame upon the flame and it gets lit so fast. Like my fuse is so short and I'm so empathetic where like I feel everybody else's feelings all at once, all the time. And so I get worn down really easily. And so I'm working on like boundaries about reality and what is mine and what's not mine to carry and feel, and trying to be better about that. But like also dealing with that same energy of like, I have to get it out. And in the moment, realizing that if I just give myself like 90 seconds, it's going to go away.
Yeah, right.
Like
Exactly.
I don't have to act on it.
Right.
Like physiologically, there's shit going on that I can control if I just give myself a minute and a half. And that has just been like recently that I've kind of gotten to that place where I'm able to I think it's just, we're all such complicated, beautiful creatures. And what makes us tick, while it's all the same, it's also kind of different. Like we're just all screwed up in our own way and yet universally screwed up together. Yeah. And beautiful and wonderful. And that's the way that like, it's then our responsibility to try and create something, like forward moving out of that energy as opposed to destructive.
Right. Yeah. That happens to me. Like if I don't have stuff I have to do to put this energy into, I am the kind of person where the energy turns back around and comes back at me in not a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very human of you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you being honest like that, because there is a certain sort of thing you get from an artist like you where you imagine like, oh, this is, just like calm times. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever tried to look at yourself like from the outside and you're like, no, I'm a rager, man. You know what I mean? It would be hard to believe. Like all of a sudden, like
Sure,
knowing of you for so. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think I create the things that I want to hear at this point. I'm like, I need it. I need this pacifier, so I'm going to make it for myself.
That's funny. That's always been, I've always felt like the attraction that I have to the Beach Boys. To me, this is like much sadder and scarier music than Black Sabbath, who I also love equally. But like to me, the fact that you're so sad, you're making everything sound as beautiful as you possibly can to soothe yourself, that's really scary compared to like, some song about witches and the devil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some things are not what they seem on the surface. I would venture to guess that most things are not what they seem on the surface, which, to bring us back to your comment about Cam, is not true about Cam. For about like 2 years, I kept being like, where are your skeletons? Where did you bury them?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Like, you're so well adjusted. And it turns out he's just really well adjusted and had like a great childhood. And he's like, just like very like even keel. And what you see is what you get from Cam Rogers. But very rarely have I found that to be true of other humans. Yeah. And I'm still looking, I'm still digging around in Cam's psyche for some dark, twisted something.
I like his taste in music. Does he play spin jams at your house? Like when you're just hanging out? Yeah.
Constantly. And just last night, which is cool. I mostly love it. And then when I don't, I just have a large collection of earplugs. But he's been teaching us how to DJ. So we'll take turns.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. I have a DJ name.
What is it?
DJ Lil Farildo.
What does that even mean? Lil Farildo?
Yeah, like Farildo.
Oh.
But it's more like Italian than that.
Okay.
And Lil, just because I'm small.
Yeah, you are small.
Lil Farildo. I just think it's funny. And if I'm going to be a terrible DJ, I might as well have a name that amuses me.
Can I ask you a question? Here's a question this is just for me and hopefully people that love you and love your music out there. Can you name some style of music or some artist that would surprise people that you listen to? I know that sounds like something weird out of like a Rolling Stone or some kind of weird 16 magazine questionnaire.
I was just actually listening to Cemetery Gates by Pantera, and it surprised the hell out of Cam.
That would surprise me if you rolled up and you were like, hey, I'm going to come by and bring you this bag. And when I walked out to your car, you were like in your Camaro jamming Pantera. That would be odd.
I mean, the guitar work is just out of control.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. So do you like metal or do you just like Pantera?
I'm not even sure I like Pantera. I mean, I like guitar. Okay. I love like Megadeth guitar stuff is out of control. Gosh, I don't know. But anything that you can make feel like that. Like last night I was listening to Colin Cripps' work on Kathleen Edwards' Back to Me album. I think they made that when they were married and then they split. But, Kathleen is great. But Colin's guitar work is like it makes me feel all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that when I listen to, what's her name? David Rawlings is her husband, or was her husband.
Yes, Gillian Welch.
Like, I love her, but there's this dude, I'm like, oh, I love you.
Wow, his sense of dissonance and oh yeah, yummy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What an amazing, that's one of those things where like, yeah, it doesn't really matter if you're from the Northeast, or you can come off as like a person that was like, just came out of 1897, Arkansas or something.
Yeah, he plugs into the I mean, they both do. They are plugged into the flow. They have made I think all great performers make a regular plug into the flow. And so when it comes time to do it, they are there. Do you have like a way that you get into that when you perform?
Like how to get into a zone,
yeah,
so to speak?
Yeah.
It's all very, at this point, it's been so long, you know what I mean? That I really have been like, there was a friend of mine came to a Skyrocket New Year's Eve show a couple of years ago, and it was like a lot of people. And we were talking, and they're like, hey, man, we're going on. And I'm like, hang on a second, I'll be right back. Or not, well, I'll be right back. I was like, sorry, I got to go play or whatever. And so I go play, and he was like, it was so weird because you came back off the stage, and you're like, so anyway, like there was a thing, and it's my job, and it's who I am. I miss it like crazy.
Yeah.
I miss it like crazy. Have you done live streams or anything? I haven't seen you doing anything.
I have. Yeah, I did twice a week for like 2 months, a while, like early in the pandemic. And then I was like, gonna get back to it. And then I haven't. It's been like 6 months. But I'm about to release this album. So I'm going to go back to the regular.
What is the regularly
scheduled programming? I don't know. What do you think it should be?
Oh, I don't know. I was doing, I've gone in and out of doing. I was gonna write down when it was. That's why I had my pen out.
Please tell me. I'm dying for guidance, and I really don't care. I guess it just has to be regular.
I think I did my first ones in like maybe May or something. I do them for like a month and then I stop because I don't know what to do every week. You know what I mean? For months on end. But I just kind of found a time when none of my friends were doing it, which was hard to find.
Like 6 to 7 on Tuesday morning?
6 to 7 on Thursday evenings.
Okay.
I had very little competition from our regular friends. But what I did notice is that, I spend a lot of time touring that I haven't done over the last, 10 years. But I spent, from 1993 until, 2007 or 8, on the road and playing all these places.
Were you in Indochine at that point?
I was in Indochine for part of it. I was in Gaudi. I was in Mr. Rocket Baby. I did a few American solo tours. The Great American Solo Tour.
Cheapest way to go.
But I didn't realize that I hadn't been, there was an audience there that was like, hey, I haven't seen you since, 2004 when you were here in St. Louis or whatever. And so it was to me, that was a very gratifying thing. And also, people get something out of it. Yeah. I noticed that once I'd start doing it and get into the groove by the third week, people are like, oh, yeah, thank God. Oh, no, you're going to stop, man. What am I going to do on Thursdays at 6? Because people don't have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and we're all dying for that infusion of music and seeing other people slip into the stream.
Yeah.
Not literally.
So are you going to do a live stream specifically for the release of Solace in the Wild?
Yeah, I am. I'm developing it right now. It's going to be on the 29th at January 29th at 7 p.m. Central. And I am going to, it's on Facebook, just because it's easy. And I'm going to figure out a way to show some videos from the recording sessions, which is going to be fun. And then I'll just play some of the songs stripped down, just me, and do a toast.
Yeah.
Because any excuse to have champagne. And then at some point have like a proper huge band show.
Yeah.
In a club with people.
Yeah.
Hugging and kissing on each other.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get back to that. Hopefully we'll be able to. How are you? So have you been doing okay at like personally throughout this whole pandemic?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there are good days and bad days.
We all have.
But I've been able to stave off the darkness pretty regularly, pretty much. We got to spend a couple of months up in Michigan, which was a really, really good break. We just like went in a cabin in the woods and like didn't see anybody for weeks and weeks.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I was going crazy. Like, I don't think I realized how dark I was, like how deeply disturbed I was until I got up there and had a couple of weeks under my belt of like fresh air and clean water and trees and stuff. And I literally just walk around hugging trees then for the rest of the time. And that was very filling. And then we came back and it was like, everything was just easier to, I mean, I wish, gosh, I want everybody to have that experience.
Yeah.
However you get it. And again, bringing it back to the album, like my whole idea about merchandising around this album is what brings me solace and how am I going to like steel myself for the hard work ahead, whether it's really like just getting through the day or whether it's doing bigger things. And for me, that's like having a sip of something warm out of a mug that I love that has good hand feel. I'm glad that you have it. I'm glad that you have it. Or like taking a bath with candles, or like writing in my journal, or getting in my very favorite, like softest t-shirt ever. So I built the merchandise around this with that stuff in mind, because I want to create moments for people that are moments of solace. Yeah. Whether you think of the wild as like trees and healthy, like fresh air, or whether you think of the wild as the news.
Yeah. Yeah. The news is weird. I got to go, my grandmother is 97, and this pandemic was driving her nuts. So like in August, she was like, this isn't going away anywhere. So she got a house for a month on the beach in Galveston, like on the beach. And wow. Yeah, I went there for almost a month. I was there 3.5 weeks, almost the whole time. It was great to be around family.
Yes.
It was great to be out of my apartment.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did when you talked about champagne, I thought it was like, man, you know, I was never a big champagne guy, but like these people brought us all of this fresh grapefruit and oranges. And we were like, man, we got to use these, but they were like fucking boxes of them. And so we had mimosa bars, usually from like 10 a.m. just for the rest of the day. Just go freshen up your mimosa.
You wouldn't want all that fruit to go to waste.
No. But I really started loving. I even got a bottle to keep here at home. So when I need to have a little celebration.
Do you have like a favorite go-to?
There's a Prosecco.
Yeah.
That has like, it almost looks like it's from somebody's wedding. The artwork on the bottle. I don't know what it's called. I know what it looks like when I see it. I just sounded like I'm a 5-year-old like champagne connoisseur. I don't know what it's called. It has a weird name. I can't pronounce.
I think it's a Blanc de Noir.
Is there anything I'm missing? There's a lot to these songs, and people just need to go listen to it. That's what I think, because it's difficult to sort of like, sometimes I have artists on here, they're like, oh, hey, well, I want to talk about like the meaning of this song. And you're like, yeah, but I don't think anyone's heard it yet. You know what I mean? So you're just going to be talking about something they don't know about. You know what I'm saying? Unless people listen, because it's going to come out before your record comes out. That's what I'm saying. Have you released any singles from it yet?
No,
No?
no, I meant to do that. I had so many plans, and what happened was there was this pandemic. And so I had to redo all my plans. And so I'm just by the skin of my teeth doing what I can to make this have a life. And so it's open for pre-order at my website, and you can pre-save it on the Spotify. Those are different things, by the way. Also, I want to point out that when you find an artist on Spotify that you love, please go buy their merchandise for money.
Yeah.
That's the way this works.
Yeah. Yeah. You have some, do you have other, you have great mugs and great stickers, bookmarks, albums. If you still rock the CDs, why are you laughing? I wasn't...
No, you can steal for me any day, Johnny Gowdy. Go on.
I'm hawking for you. Come get your mugs. I love mugs are my favorite things, and this is a fantastic mug. I'm showing it to you like we're on television, but it's just you seeing this.
It is a fantastic mug. I love it. I actually get my merch ideas from other people's great merch that I love, and then I just steal them and put my own artwork on it.
Well, it's not like we're so far removed from the person that invented mug as a merchandise. We're not ripping anyone off. But that's the way, I think that's the way people should do their merchandise. Because just like would you want it? Do you like it?
Well, I mean, I've got like 100 of those mugs right now in my house. So if I'm going to be stuck with anything, I want it to be something that I truly love.
Yeah. Well, hopefully people will buy them. They can go to erinivey.com. There's links to the merchandise. There's also links you said in the Spotify. I noticed that lately that Spotify there's links to people's merch and stuff like that where you can actually give them money, and it says on there like Spotify doesn't get a cut of this mug or hat.
It's the least they could do.
You know what I always wanted to do for merch, but I've never done it because I haven't had the, excuse the phrase, balls.
Condoms.
No.
Oh, this is a rhetorical question?
No. I'm telling you.
Tell me.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. I've always wanted to have I always wanted to go to like some place that sells bulk WWJD. I know it's blasphemous and super uncool, but I'm like, oh wow, it's already there. What would Johnny do?
On there with a Sharpie?
I wouldn't have to. It's what would Jesus do is the same as what would Johnny do when it's just WWJD.
Yeah.
And so I haven't. Maybe someday I'll do it. If I do, I'll give you one.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
I would love to represent for you. I worry that perhaps
people won't think it's me.
There may be
another J,
a stronger brand at play here.
I think so too. But that's all right. I can ride on the coattails of that brand and whatever fallout residual. Imagine.
All right. If I ever see some of those for sale, I'll pick some up for you.
Okay.
Just as like a pilot program.
Or just when you go up to the clerk at the place and be like, "Oh, you guys got the new Johnny Gowdy merchandise in." What would Johnny do? Well, I just lost the Christian sect of my listening audience. So people can see your live stream. You're going to be toasting champagne, playing some songs, showing some videos on January 29th on your Facebook page at 7 p.m. Central. People should go to erinivey.com to get connected with all the Erin Ivey things and places to go. And pre-order the album on iTunes or on Apple Music. What it is now. Is iTunes still?
I don't know. I couldn't get that was one of the things that I just had to give up on, is getting an Apple Music pre-order, because my record has 10 tracks on it. And in order to qualify for a pre-order, you have to have 11 tracks. I'm learning all sorts of strange bullshit.
Yeah.
about what we do these days. But I also feel like it's an interesting challenge waking up like Rip Van Winkle after these many years and trying to do a thing.
Did you
crazy.
Did you ever think stuff would have changed? Okay, now that was an Amazon guy that just knocked. Did you ever think that things would change so fast in 7 years?
I mean, I could not have predicted it.
Right.
But just the sheer processing power of our computers has like.
That's true.
It's so much. It has grown so fast.
Yeah.
In such a short period of time, what we're able to do with our computers and the amount of storage that we can. I mean, it's like revolutionary.
Yeah.
It's really revolutionary. We're living in big times, Johnny.
Big times, Erin Ivey. Big times. Guys, you can find Solace in the Wild wherever it is you stream and download your music when it comes out on the 29th of January. You can also see Erin play that night on Facebook. I'll put links to all that stuff on here. Is there anything else I'm missing? I always enjoy talking to you and seeing you and all that stuff.
Oh, thanks. Likewise.
You're a lovely person.
It's a mutual admiration society, as my mother would say.
Can I call back to how I first heard of you? Now that I know you're a rager, I have this vision of you singing the Take Me to Reeds thing, but like in a death metal way, like, Take me to Reeds!
Now!
Please tell Cam I said hello and that I think about him and I miss him spinning jams because I always did enjoy it. And hopefully we'll all get to see each other again someday soon. Thank you for doing the show again. And thank you for reaching out. I think that you're a tremendous artist, like maybe one of the best this town has to offer. And I hope that you keep making more records like Solace in the Wild and whatever else you have coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for doing the show, Erin.
Yeah.
The song is Where Have You Been All My Life? The album, Solace in the Wind, the great Erin Ivey. What a great conversation. What a fantastic record produced by Chuck Pinelli. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. I always enjoy my conversations with Erin. She is a very, very lovely person. She actually interviewed me right after that. Her next line after thank you or goodbye or whatever was, now I want to interview you. And I left that going for a while, but you know what? Some stuff is just for friends, all right? Get out there and check out Solace in the Wind, available January 29th. Go to erinivey.com for all of your Erin Ivey needs. She's fantastic, Erin Ivey. What a great, great talent. This record was produced by Chuck Pinelli. And don't forget, gang, while you're out there checking out erinivey.com, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is you find podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Overcast, anywhere you find podcasts. New shows every Tuesday, every Friday, sometimes 3 a week. Just like this week. This one's dropping on Monday. Got another show Wednesday and another show Friday. Hope you're all having a good weekend under the new Biden-Harris regime. It feels like a happier America, at least to me. All right? Enjoy the rest of this song, Where Have You Been All My Life, from the album Solace in the Wind, out Friday, January 29th. Erin Ivey. Love it. Have a great day, whatever it is you're doing. Let's get down.
Have you been all my life? You are the prince I've been waiting to kiss me away. It's perfect this tide will just ride with the light, 'cause when it shines just so I can see your shadow when you're tracing the places I want to be, and elevated to a fantasy so treacherous and steep. I can feel you breathing, coursing